Hi, I'm Dr. Angela McBrady of DoctorFlute.com, and today's flute tip is on faster air versus blowing harder. So have you heard the term faster air? Faster air usually is applied to playing in your high register. And I have many students who just blow harder in the higher register. And to them, that's faster air. Now, there are times where I've taught younger students and I have had to say, well, just blow a little harder, because they just don't get the concept of what this high note is that we're trying to reach. They have to blow harder so their ear registers and their head what is a high note. So I have resorted to that. But generally, I don't ever use the term blow harder. But I will say, make your air faster. Faster air is needed to get out your high notes, to have your high notes come out with ease and with good tone quality, everything that you want your high notes to be. We need that air to be faster. But truthfully, I don't use the term faster air. I don't use the term faster air, and I don't use the term blow harder on a regular basis. When I use the term faster air, when I've heard it used, younger students interpret that as blowing harder, and I don't want them to blow harder. Another thing that a student will do, if you say use faster air up in that high register, they will still pinch it off right here so that the faster air comes out this tiny little hole. And of course, it's a more pure sound, so they think that's the good sound. That's exactly the good sound I'm going for. Because it's such a small hole, all the air is taken out of it. It's going fast through that tiny opening. But what's wrong with that? Well, your dynamic level is limited to 2 square inches. Whatever it is in sound wave patterns, you can't get a lot of dynamics when your embouchure is tight and tiny, even though your air is fast, because you've pinched it off. The secret to high notes is to allow this to stay open, to have a lot of air pressure pushing up on your high register so that your embouchure can stay relaxed. If you don't have that air pressure there, your embouchure is going to shrink. It's going to get tinier and tighter and tinier and tighter. You're going to fight letting this embouchure close. I know, and you know, that as you get higher, your embouchure does shrink. But you know what? I'm never going to say that to a student, because if I do, they go to the extreme. They go really small and really tight. And so I say, keep it open, push more from your support, and allow the air to come at the speed with which it comes. Now, if I blow harder, even if I'm in the upper register and I keep my embouchure open, it's just going to be harsh. Okay, I still had support there because I have a hard time saying, no support, don't use it. So there's still some support there, but I just blew harder. Now, when you blow harder, what don't you have? You don't have any control. Hence, why everybody tightens up, because then you have control. If you're getting your embouchure, your high notes out, because your embouchure is shrinking, blowing faster air isn't going to help you at all. If you keep your embouchure open, you keep your air fast, and you have a lot of support, that's where the good stuff is. That's going to help you. So if I play that again with support, open embouchure, my air will be fast, but I'm controlling it. And you can see, my embouchure is not tight. I pulled it away, and I didn't change it. That's exactly what I want to have happen with my students. It needs to stay relaxed, not pinched. Faster air is going to allow you to keep the embouchure open with support and a very loose cheeks, so it's not pinched. If you blow harder to get your high notes out, you're going to have to pinch it completely. So I think you should check the mirror. You should play and look in the mirror to see, are you pinching? If I were to play this with a pinched embouchure, that's my airs being fast. It's a mezzo forte kind of sound. The only way I can control that blowing harder with a faster air is to make my embouchure very tiny, and you can hear that pinched sound. Now let me play that passage again. I'm going to stay open. I'm going to keep my airspeed fast. I'm not going to blow harder at all. It's just faster, intense. Maybe intense airstream would be the better term for your high notes. Blow a more intense airstream, and then we can take the faster and blowing harder out of the equation. Like, what is the real difference? So I'm going to make my airstream a little more intense, but my embouchure is going to stay as open as I can still be in this third octave. A lot of support. And then, right after that, I have to come in softly. So with my relaxed embouchure, I'm going to keep my airstream intense. I can still keep very relaxed, and it keeps my tone pure and open and out there, even though I'm soft. If I pinch that part, it gets a brassy, tinny sound that has a little extra air coming out of it. I hear a little hiss coming out of that. But if I play that with my more intense airstream, but, I mean, it's a little bit lower, so I don't have to have it quite as intense. Keeping embouchure open, a lot of support. Then I let it fade away right there. Okay, so your job is to find out, are you blowing harder or are you using a more intense airstream while keeping it open? If you're blowing harder, you could tell because blowing harder means you have to pinch. And this embouchure, usually you see this, very tight in here. And if you play for any length of time, it gets very tiring right through here. If you use the faster airstream or a more intense airstream, a lot of support pushing through there, and keeping this as open as you can, then your sound is beautiful, can come out because there's nothing that's pinching it, but you can still control it. Okay, blowing harder, there's no control except a pinch. All right, use the mirror. The mirror will tell you. But some of you already know when you play high for too long, play high notes for too long, then your embouchure starts getting tired. You know, if it gets tired, you know that you're doing it wrong. Barring a few really, really high pieces, if I'm playing high Bs all the time, my embouchure can get tired. But barring that, I probably could play all day long and my embouchure doesn't get tired. The only thing that gets tired are my arms holding my flute up. So check that out. Is this your problem? Are you pinching when you play, or are you staying open with that relaxed embouchure, just making your airstream a little bit more intense? That's today's flute tip. If you like today's flute tip, press the like button, subscribe, comment below, and share it with your friends.